Coming up this week on Ride the Lightning, the Tesla Motors unofficial podcast, Tesla announces its second quarter results, Elon Musk hints at big plans for Model Y, BMW goes on the offensive against Model 3, and more. What's happening, friends? It's another busy week of Tesla news. I picked the right car company to start a podcast about because it is never a dull moment in Tesla land. Welcome to Ride the Lightning, the Tesla Motors unofficial podcast, episode 53 for August 7th, 2016. I'm Ryan McCaffrey. Starting off the week with some fun little news. Elon Musk tweeted at me again, replied to one of my tweets. I'm on fire all of a sudden. That's two in the last couple weeks. There was a conversation going on about naming the Tesla minibus. Somebody suggested a name, and I replied saying, well, what about Model B for bus? And Elon actually replied to me. I was very surprised. I actually didn't see it right away. I saw other people were tweeting at me saying, oh, that's two. And I'm like, what are they talking? Oh, it was nice to see Elon Musk reply to me. He said to me, I think we should be inconsistent in our naming conventions after Model Y. So it seems that he is very much going to spell out sexy on purpose, S3XY. And then after that, all bets are off. And they might just keep sexy and then have other names like, who knows, maybe, Tesla minibus, whatever it's actually going to be called. But I thought that was a fun little, it's always fun when Elon tweets at you. No, it's a thrill whenever a guy, who I admire like that, who has something like 4 million, more than that now, 4-something million followers actually addresses me. It's pretty cool. Speaking of pretty cool, I'm seeing more and more Model X's on the road here in and around San Francisco. I feel like it's almost getting up to one a day now for me. Though I have to say, weirdly, a disproportionately large number of them are white Model X's. I don't know if that's actually the most popular color or if it's just a small sample size coincidence or what, but I would say definitely the most of them I've seen have been white. The white with the gray, the onyx black turbines has been a very popular configuration that I've seen. I'm also seeing a good number of titaniums, which is my personal least favorite color, but clearly a number of people disagree with me. And then I would say after that, the gray, particularly the gray with the onyx black wheels to get that kind of stealth bomber look to it. That's been popular. I'll say the configuration that I would get if I had been so lucky to win the ludicrous Model X from Joe Willett's referral in the last round of the referral program, I would order a multi-coat red Model X, which actually I have yet to see in person. I've only seen in pictures. But I would order a multi-coat red X with those black, onyx black 22-inch turbines with a 6-seat white interior. But I'll just have to keep going on Tesla.com and configuring it in the design studio and staring at it from there. That's the closest I get to look. But so yeah, it's good to see more and more X's in and around my daily life here in the San Francisco area. An interesting thing bubbled up this week as well. I mentioned a few weeks ago in response to a Ride the Lightning hotline phone call about Forza Horizon 3, the upcoming entry in the outstanding racing series that's on the Xbox One and now also the PC. Well, I'd mentioned that just that week they'd started announcing the car roster for the game. The game's out in September. And on the list was a 2015 Tesla P85D. And I thought, oh, that's unfortunate. And I gave a whole rap about how they must have had to wrap, they have to sort of lock all that stuff down way in advance, way ahead of time. Well, they're up to week 3 of the reveals. They're just, doling them out in bits and pieces. And this week, I took another look at the full list, as I do each and every week, to see what cars are in there, which ones I like and which ones I'm familiar with. And I got down to the Tesla entry, and it now says 2016 Tesla P90D. So, that's good news. It looks like we will finally get a taste of ludicrous mode in a video game. For those of us who either don't have ludicrous enabled Teslas or don't have Teslas at all, but I have yet to drive a ludicrous Tesla of any sort, S or X. I've driven insane, as I've said on the show before, so I'm curious how the game will represent ludicrous mode. In fact, this gives me a good idea. I should pitch, and in fact, Tesla would do this. They would actually do it. I'm now thinking out loud. Hopefully none of my competitors are listening and will steal this idea. I should drop Tesla a line, since I do have a bit of a relationship with them from working with them in the past. I should do a video for IGN comparing real-life ludicrous mode to the in-game ludicrous mode. In fact, this is 100% happening. I'm recording the show on Friday night this week. When I get back to the office on Monday morning, I am 100% emailing Tesla to see about making this happen. Weirdly, fun fact about me, I actually did a similar video to this years ago with Forza Motorsport 4 in 2011. It was actually the first time I think I actually did anything with Tesla proper. I was still at Official Xbox magazine, and Forza 4 was coming out, which was a huge deal at the time for Xbox, and the Roadster was in the game. And I emailed Tesla, who of course back then, this was pre-Model S. So, they were a very, very small company, and they were local, and said, hey, I'd love to do a video, for Official Xbox magazine for our disc and we had a little section on the Xbox dashboard at the time, so anybody with an Xbox could see it. And it's like, I'd love to do a video comparing the real-life Roadster to the Roadster in Forza to sort of compare, measure the realism of the game, which is that's the whole thing with Forza, is it's sold on its realism. And Tesla just not even shy. They were like, sure, come on down. And I get there, and they don't even know me at that point, and they just hand me the keys to a $150,000 Roadster Sport. I was like, well, I like these guys. This company's great. So yeah, I think that could be a fun little video feature that would be relevant to both my IGN audience and my Ride the Lightning audience. So I'm going to go to work on that. So that was an interesting update. It's you don't see that very often. I wonder if the original, why the change there? If that was just an error in the listing, but more likely maybe they updated the car mid development and they originally published an old version of their car list, but. Nevertheless, good news that it looks like we'll get ludicrous mode in Forza Horizon 3, which by all indications is going to be an absolutely incredible racing game. It is very approachable. I've given you the rap on Forza, specifically Forza Horizon 4. It's been a great series so far, and 3 is set down in Australia and it looks really good. So anyway, next up, from something super cheerful to something that's funny in a whole different way. So this was just sent to me very shortly before I recorded. Great timing. I want to thank Matt Schroeder, loyal listener, who sent me links to these 2 YouTube videos. They just went up today. In fact, on one of them, I was able to leave the first comment. That's how fresh these things are. It's odd. I find it a little odd that they were dumped onto YouTube on Friday night, which is, not when people are going to be looking for YouTube videos. But get this, BMW has started launching attack ads directly targeting Tesla and specifically the Model 3. So, and there's not one, but 2 of them. There are 2. They couldn't stop at 1. There are 2. I mean, maybe I'm sensationalizing it by calling them attack ads, but they are. I mean, they're directly targeting Tesla. So take a listen to these. I mean, the visual isn't necessarily anything special. The first clip that I'm going to play you the commercial is called Waiting, and it's a guy sitting looking really super bored on his front steps in front of his house with nothing in the driveway. And he's looking across the street at his neighbors across the street that have a brand new red BMW plug-in hybrid 3 Series. So here's the first one called Waiting. So I'll play you that now.
You will do your taxes twice, maybe more. You will ring in the new year twice, maybe more. You will wait and wait and wait some more, all before that electric car company's new model ever even arrives. But the all-new 72 mpge performance-driven BMW 330e is here now, reinventing what a plug-in hybrid is like only BMW can. It's the car you've been waiting for without the wait.
So that I thought that was pretty funny. They did not shy away from it. They're like, while you wait for that car from that electric car company, you'll be paying your taxes twice, and maybe once, maybe twice. I got a kick out of it more than anything. I'm not the least bit upset by it, or I just thought it was funny. It just means that Tesla is getting under BMW's skin. So here's the second one called Wait or Drive. Very similar premise. It's, another announcer, but this time it's a woman on the roof of a parking garage walking towards her BMW 3 Series plug-in hybrid, and she walks by two what are very obviously superchargers. They're red and white and they have the same shape. They just don't say Tesla on them. And they're like, there's nobody there and it's dark, and she kind of looks at them with this sort of look of disgust, and she pauses for a moment as she walks towards her BMW, which is of course under a bright light. So take a listen to Wait or Drive.
You can pay a deposit and wait. You can put your name on a list and wait. You can get in line and wait. You can wait, or you can drive. The all-new 72 mpge performance-driven BMW 330e is available now, reinventing what a plug-in hybrid is, like only BMW can. It's the car you've been waiting for without the wait.
So again, I thought those were hilarious. Quite honestly, it's that if you're Tesla, you've done something right. If you've got your car is not even out for a year and change at least, and your competitors are already trying to hedge you off at the pass by making anti-Model 3 commercials. So. I tweeted this at Elon, but you never know when he's paying attention to Twitter or not. If he doesn't see it from me, he's probably got a million other people tweeting him about it. And if not, if he doesn't see any of that, I'm sure he's getting an email about it from someone internally. But I got a kick out of that. Those are pretty funny. So thank you again to Matt Schroeder for sending those along. I thought those were great. So let's move on. Let's have a little more fun. Last week I talked about, we talked Gigafactory. We heard some of Elon and JB's remarks from their little presentation at the Gigafactory grand opening. Well, as I mentioned, our friend Joe Willett, who had kindly offered up his referral code for me to use on the show. You guys were so nice, or at least 5 of you were super nice and actually bought cars using his code, and thus you sent him. Your generosity, your purchase of Teslas helped send Joe, or at least get him the tickets, and then he went ahead and booked his flight. He went on out. He went to the Gigafactory grand opening. Well, I wanted to talk to Joe about it, plus he and I have never actually spoken. We've only traded emails. So here's a little interview that I recorded just a little while ago over Skype with Joe about his experience at the Gigafactory. I hope the sound quality is decent here. This was, again, over Skype, and it was, it's just an MP3 recorder plug-in program. So hopefully this will sound all right, but enjoy. Let's chat a little bit with Joe Willett, a Tesla owner who got to go to the Gigafactory grand opening. I am thrilled to be joined by Joe Willett. You've heard his name on the podcast before. That is because he is a very kind human being who offered to use his referral code for the podcast, and if he won the Model X, He was going to send it my way. So, Joe, it's nice to actually speak with you for real. This is the first time you and I have talked.
That's true. Yes. Hello.
So you, as part of the referral program, our kind audience here got you your max 5 referrals, which included tickets to the Gigafactory opening last week, and you went. So I'm going to assume that was your first time in Reno, Nevada?
It was my first time, yes, and it was 101 degrees when I got there.
That's actually not bad, all things considered.
Yeah.
I've got some family in Vegas, and I know it can get even higher than that. But so, just what did you think of the event overall?
Overall, I was very impressed. I kept telling my friend who I went with, I can't believe we're here. Like, how is it that we're here? It was really overwhelming in a good way. You know, it was Tesla people everywhere, and everything was nice. Like, you know, Tesla does a good party. Elon Musk apparently got good at throwing parties back in college, and now he's got people working for him doing the same thing. So yeah, it was really impressive and a lot of fun.
So walk me through your day. You're on your way over there. You fly in, and then you were saying to me earlier that you get on the bus, the shuttle bus, to take you from Reno over to Sparks, and the president of Tesla, John McNeil, was on the bus.
Yeah, he jumped on the bus that we took from the tent, the gigantic party tent, to the factory entrance. So they had a short shuttle bus. I wouldn't even really call it a shuttle, but they did have a short shuttle that went just like within their property. And he jumped on board there before it started moving, and just sort of wanted to greet everybody, which was really cool. I was sitting in the front row and shook his hand, and it's kind of like, wow, again, how is this happening? This is so cool.
What'd you say to him?
I think I just, actually, I was going to say I don't remember, but I do. I said, I hope you're as proud of Tesla as we all are. And everyone on the bus was like, yeah.
I'm going to assume, was this your first Tesla event?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, because I've been lucky. I've been to 2 now, and I kind of had the same thing. Like, wow, this is a pretty good party. And every Tesla employee I ran into, I was just overwhelmed. I was just moved to tell them thank you. Like, thank you for doing what you do and building this. And I have to imagine. I mean, was it just sort of surreal seeing this already giant building in the middle of the desert, in the middle of nothing?
It really was. I work in the automotive industry, and I'm kind of accustomed to being around big buildings and manufacturing. This place is really big, and it's hard to believe that it's 1/7 complete. It's so big that the tent where the music and the drinks and everything was at one end of the building, and the entrance was at the other end, more or less. And it's so big that they were putting people on buses and taking them to the other end of the building to start the tour. That's a pretty big building, especially when it's, really in its infancy.
So you got to go on a tour of the Gigafactory as it is now. What did you think of the tour? What did you see, and what was your impression?
It was very well organized. That's the thing that stood out to me. The whole night was really well organized, I thought. But the tour was kind of cool because it started out with us on the bus, and the person, the tour guide on the bus, explaining, look over to the left and right, and you can see actual construction, like pouring concrete and steel being like put in the ground for footings. They were actively doing that while we were there in the evening on a Friday night.
Wow.
And then, so it starts with that. And then we go into the building, and it's kind of big and open and empty, and it smells like paint, and there's not much there. But as the tour progressed for maybe 45 minutes, we got to see more and more until the end, where there was actual people everywhere, and machines and robots, and it was bustling. We actually saw a bunch of people trying to ignore all the tourists while they were eating their lunch. And yeah, it was really something to see. A lot of the actual the information being given to us on the tour was over everybody's heads, and we're all trying to pretend that we understand how cathodes and electrolytes work together and stuff. But it was definitely cool.
Now, as a Tesla owner, have you been to the Fremont factory to tour that?
I have not. No, I live in Michigan, and I bought my car through the CPO program, so I bought it used about 7 months ago. And I have not been out to Fremont, but I would love to.
Oh, you should. I wish I'd have known that. We could have had you swing over here on your way, take the long way home from Reno to Michigan, and you stop here, and it would have been fun to meet up and do that. You have to next time.
Next time. That's right.
So I know I saw lots of pictures online. They had the sort of rolling mule, the non-functioning Model 3 mule, parked out front or sat out front. Did you get a good look at it?
I did. It wasn't outside. It was sitting in a, not sure what you'd call it. It was sort of like a lobby, I guess, in part of the factory that was set up not to look like a factory. And you wouldn't know that it was just the rolling mule by everyone's excitement. Like, everyone wanted to touch it, and the thing got its picture taken about 10,000 times an hour. And it was still very exciting, even though it was pretty clear that it wasn't real. And my friend said, "Hey, look, there's no backup camera." And I was like, "Oh yeah, there's probably a lot of things missing."
I'm going to again assume that was, since that's your first Tesla event, that's probably your first time seeing Model 3 in person in any way, shape, or form.
It is. For what it's worth, my impression seeing it for the first time in person is that it's not a small car. I keep thinking that it's a small, it's a little mini Model S. I guess kind of, sort of it is, but it's not a small car. I used to drive a Prius. I still have my Prius. And that I don't even think of as that small of a car, but it's way, way bigger than a Prius.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's Motor Trend, when they did that big Gigafactory in the cover story, that they were estimating that it's about 90% the size of the S. So it's going to be a good size car by all accounts.
Yeah.
So, Joe, as a Tesla owner for 7 months, for those of us who have Model 3s reserved and don't have Teslas yet, we're again, as I like to say, those excited kids with their faces pressed up against the glass looking inside.
I love that. Yeah.
What can you, as a Tesla owner, tell us about what we can expect about the experience and living with a Tesla every day once we finally get them in our garage?
That's a very hard question to answer quickly, but I can say that in a way it sort of just becomes your car, which is a huge letdown. That's a terrible answer, but in a way it does just become your car. You end up not getting quite so concerned about getting crumbs in the car and stuff like that, which seems totally outrageous when you first get it. But that never quite has happened, because I still feel like I have a long commute. I drive 2 hours a day round trip, and
so you're saving tons of money then on fuel alone.
Yeah, even on the Prius. Yeah, even compared to a Prius. But my commute is like a highlight of the day. So I get up in the morning and I'm like, I get to drive the car. And that's after having done it now, hundreds of times.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's having your face pressed against the glass. I would say it's not always going to be that way. It's one of these days it's going to be real, and it's very cool when it is.
Well, maybe that speaks to the car, that you almost just take it for granted, that it's so, it's good enough where you just get used to it, and then that's your new normal.
Yeah, it doesn't feel normal, I have to say. I mean, it's not normal to get out of the car at a grocery store and have people stare and walk and almost bump their carts into other cars because they're looking at yours. So yeah, that is a constant reminder that it's really not. It's not a normal car. And here in Michigan, it's pretty uncommon. I see maybe one a day on my long commute, but they're pretty uncommon.
Well, that was kind of my last question for you, was just being a Tesla owner in Michigan. I've, of course, talked on the show a lot about Michigan being a difficult state for Tesla. It's still not legal to buy one there. I take it you did it through the website, I presume, when you bought yours. And have you encountered any sort of hardcore old school Detroit guy resistance? Do you have any haters coming up to you and talking trash about your Tesla?
No, I wouldn't say haters talking trash, but I do kind of get to the point where I have to try not to roll my eyes. Like I've had family members, one in particular who worked for Ford for a long time, said something to me about the car when I first got it, and I said, "Well, it's American. It's not my old Toyota." And he goes, "Well, it's kind of American. You know, it's made in America by Americans with mostly American parts."
Yeah, other than the batteries coming from Japan, and even that's going to be turning American very soon.
But, you know, it was made in that foreign country called California.
Right. That's true. Well, Joe, I'm going to let you go, but it was great to get the Gigafactory tour impressions from you. I'm so glad that I just want to say thank you to the audience for buying Teslas with your code to send you there. I'm so glad you got to go. That's just awesome that you got to go. And really, from the bottom of my heart, just thank you for offering your code up and giving me a chance to win that X and make my Tesla dream come true, because you offering me that chance is infinitely more of a chance than I have of owning a Tesla as of today. So just thank you for that.
And really, honestly, thank you. Going to that event was something that I would not have been able to do on my own, and you're giving me all the credit, but you're the one putting this podcast together. And it was really an excellent experience. I mean, really, it was way up there, like very, very exciting. Hard to explain how much fun it was. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Well, next step, we got to get you out here to the Bay Area. We'll get you a tour of the Tesla factory, which means you'd be in my neck of the woods, and we could get together, have some lunch, and talk a little Tesla.
That sounds like a good day.
All right, Joe, thank you so much, and let's talk again.
Excellent. Thank you.
It was great to talk to Joe. We ended up talking a little bit after that recording for a little while. Just a great guy. Just a nice guy. There are not enough of those in the world, although there are a lot of them in the Tesla community from my experience. And that's why I love just trying to contribute to that community in my own small way with this podcast. Let's get to the news now. The rest of the news, there are a number of things to chat about. First up is an update on the Solar City deal. It is indeed moving forward, pending shareholder approval. Tesla posted a blog about the progression of this, saying, quote, "We expect to achieve cost synergies of $150 million in the first full year after closing," which, by the way, they expect to happen in the fourth quarter of this year. Continuing, "We also expect to save customers money by lowering hardware costs, reducing installation costs, improving our manufacturing efficiency, and reducing our customer acquisition costs. We will also be able to leverage Tesla's 190 store retail network and international presence to extend our combined reach." So the next hurdle has been cleared. This is not done yet. There are a few more steps to go. Most notably, again, that shareholder approval from both Tesla and Solar City shareholders, but it's inching closer. It is inching closer to being done. So I guess we'll be hearing about that in probably about the next 3 to 4 months. Next up, Tesla's second quarter results. There was the shareholder letter and the conference call about that. I've got a few clips from Elon on that conference call coming up here in just a minute. So overall, Tesla missed their expectations on earnings, but beat their expectations on revenue. The end result was a very small bump in the stock price that day. I was taking a look at it. It was up about $4, maybe $5 tops. They reaffirmed that they're on track to deliver 50,000 cars in the second half of the year and looking to come in on the low end of their 80-something thousand, about 83 or so, I think it was, thousand cars delivered for the year 2016, fiscal year, which is also calendar year for Tesla. They mentioned that they will be opening a new retail location on the average of once every 4 days throughout the rest of the year. So that's big, and that's both U.S. and international. So if you do not currently have a Tesla store near you, you may be getting one in the next several months. So some good news there. They noted that they exited the second quarter while in consistently producing 2,000 cars per week, which remember in the last, the Q1 results, that was the plan, was to be at 2,000 per week in the second quarter, 2,200 per week in the third quarter, and 2,400 per week by the fourth quarter. So they're on track for that right now. That's good news. Now, Model Y, this is very interesting. More or less out of nowhere, which of course happens with Elon Musk, it was brought up, and Elon says that Tesla expects to sell between 500,000 and 1 million Model Ys per year once that's ramped up. Just the Model Y, just the compact SUV, which Elon does continue to refer to as Model Y, keeping that sexy intact. So here's Elon speaking about Model Y.
Yeah, and I'd say, I mean, also to be clear, like the priority vehicle development after the Model 3 would be the Model Y, I guess, the compact SUV, because that's also a car that where we expect to see demand in the 500,000 to 1 million unit per year level. So it's the obvious priority after the Model 3.
Well, every call with Elon almost always results in something interesting to come out of it. And this one was no different. Not only that Model Y little nugget there, but Elon addressed the minibus and the semi. He was asked on the call by an analyst about when those vehicles, I should say, were going to get unveiled. So here is Elon speaking to that, answering that question.
I think we want to postpone anything that's a heavy capital impact until after the Model 3 production is ramped. We don't want to stack Model 3 CapEx on top of other program CapEx. So, but there's a lot we can do, because the development of a vehicle, there's a long sort of tail at the beginning of a development of a vehicle, which involves a lot of time, but doesn't involve a lot of cost. And suddenly, when you begin tooling up for production, that the cost really ramps dramatically. So there's a lot we can do before we have to dive into ramp CapEx. And we won't do that for any products until after Model 3 is in high production. But I think there's going to be some pretty exciting unveils for the Tesla Semi and the Tesla minibus or bus. We don't actually have a name for it yet. That's just off of the Model X platform. So it doesn't involve a lot of CapEx, actually. But we expect to probably unveil those, I think, for the middle of next year, maybe in the next 6 to 9 months type of thing. And then have a better, a more fleshed out plan for when those would enter production. But they would enter production within like low single digit years, not like, I consider like anything past 5 years is infinity.
And here's the clip I think that will give us Model 3 reservation holders the most to chew on and the most to just get our mouths frothing. We'll be just like, oh my gosh. So Elon, at least, I'm of course not on purpose driving the hype machine. Elon's being Elon, but Elon's talking about how their advancements in the autonomous driving process, what they've got going on now is going to, quote, blow people's minds. Here it is in Elon's own words.
All I would say is that full autonomy is going to come a hell of a lot faster than anyone thinks it will. And I think what we've got under development is going to blow people's minds. Blows my mind.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the questions. I appreciate it.
that's he can't. That's going to do nothing but get everybody's hype up. I mean, but it's awesome. I mean, that's cool to hear. I mean, and if he's not a guy who goes around hyping things. Like he's not a guy who goes around exaggerating. I'll put it that way. He's not an exaggerator. He's not someone who he's not the boy who cried wolf with Elon Musk. When he talks about something, he's usually being pretty genuine about it and not exaggerating it. So if he's talking about that it's blowing his mind, that's pretty cool for the rest of us to think about. And again, I've said this a bunch before. It's hardly an original thought. Many others share the same sentiment, but I very much believe that at Model 3's Part 2 reveal, whenever that's going to be, I very much think we're going to see some sort of demonstration of self-driving capability. Whether the car drives. I mean, the car driving itself on stage wouldn't actually be that, I hate to say it wouldn't be that impressive. Ooh, a car. Of course it's awesome. But Summon kind of does that now. So I wonder if they'll maybe have it, because I'm assuming Part 2 of the reveal will be in Fremont at the factory. That's generally how it's gone, is the unveil happens at the design studio in Hawthorne, and the actual sort of proper unveiling / launch happens in Fremont. I certainly hope it happens in Fremont because I live near here, near the factory, and it would make it a lot easier for me to go if I'm able to finagle my way into a media pass or an invite somehow. But so I wonder if they'll take it out to the test track while Elon's on stage, and they'll put a bunch of cameras in the car showing you that it's going around the track with no driver. So we'll see. I do think it's going to factor in, but man, that is going to be so much fun. What's cool about the Model 3 Part 2 reveal is not only is it going to be exciting to me as a Tesla enthusiast and someone who now covers Tesla on a regular basis via this podcast, but it'll be the first Tesla event. Some of you have already gotten to experience this. This will be if I can finagle my way in, the Model 3 Part 2 event would be my first chance to go to a Tesla event where it's actually a product that I'm going to have, that I'm getting, I mean, there was the Model 3 event, which I did get to go to, but I put my reservation down. But this would be like, oh, I'm waiting for delivery. Show me my car, Elon. Show me what the final version of what I'm going to get is going to look like. So that's going to be really exciting if I'm able to get to that. So anyway, those are the updates from the second quarter results from Tesla. We'll move on to quarter 3 results here in 3 more months. And one other news story this week comes out of Electrek, the fine folks there that do a bunch of great work, Fred Lambert, among others. I see his name on the bylines quite often. Electrek has pieced together some nuggets and found that Tesla has apparently ordered enough parts to build a fleet of up to 300 Model 3 prototypes. Now, as Electrek themselves points out, this doesn't necessarily mean that's exactly how many they're going to build, because they might use some of the parts for testing specific systems in isolation, for instance. But it seems like Tesla is ready to move forward with the Model 3. There are, seemingly no major setbacks or anything else to that effect. Because remember, we've had pencils down on Model 3. The design is done. So it does make perfect sense that they'd now start working on building the thing and testing it, which, of course, that's no longer going to, no doubt, that's going to be a long and probably somewhat arduous process with tons of tweaks and little changes made along the way to improve the car. Elon has said as much himself about that. In fact, I got to say, Elon strikes me as a little Steve Jobsian, at least in the sense that I feel like he's always pushing for more. For instance, if the engineers come back with a Model 3 that they've been working on, and they go, and maybe let's just say, for example, it's the Ludicrous team. They're part of the the inverter / motor team. I don't even know if that's a real team, or if it's just like the PEM team. But let's say that the team working on the ludicrous mode for the car, because we know it has ludicrous mode, comes to Elon and says, Elon, we've got it to 3.5 seconds. We busted ourselves. We broke ourselves. We're feeling really good about 3.5. That's pretty killer. And I imagine Elon being the kind of guy who would say, great, let me know when you've got it down to 3.2. And then he walks away. And then the engineers don't sleep for a week while they try to figure out how to get 3 more tenths of a second off of the 0 to 60 time. I'm purely guessing. I don't know Elon Musk. I don't know if he's quite that way, but I feel like he is probably the guy, the kind of leader that is that way, who does demand a lot, but also inspires his people. So, Model 3 is moving along. This is great news. Hopefully we'll start to see, particularly here in the Bay Area, maybe we'll start to see a few more prototypes running around every now and again. All right, deep breath. That's it for this week's news. Hope you enjoyed the chat with Joe Willett. I sure did. And it's good to work those. It's always good to hear from Elon himself. I hope those conference call sound clips are of good enough quality where you're not like straining your ear to your speaker or headphone to try and hear them. But it's because it's all I've got. It's the official Tesla conference call recording. But that'll do it for the news this week. Coming back, we've got, 4 excellent phone calls all queued up in the Ride the Lightning hotline for you right after this. Time once again to tee up your phone calls in the Ride the Lightning hotline. Of course, if you've got a question, comment, or discussion topic for the podcast, you can call in and leave a message anytime you want, day or night, 24/7 on the Ride the Lightning hotline. It's a toll-free call or Skype to 1-888-989-8752. That's 1-888-989-TESLA, TSLA. And if you know someone special with an upcoming birthday, anniversary, graduation, or some other special occasion, you can give them a unique gift of recorded voices from friends and family telling them why they're special. The recordings can be podcasted or put onto a keepsake. Please visit lifeonrecord.com to learn more. Now, the Patreon-exclusive bonus episode number 2, the second one, the one for August, is going to be up, if not now as you hear this, it'll be up any moment now. I'm just finishing it up. So look for that. A number of you are in that. Also, Norman from Carlsbad and Thomas from Southern California, look for your calls in the Patreon-exclusive bonus episode number 3 in September. You just missed the cutoff for this month. I loved your calls. Didn't quite have room for them in the show today. So they're going to go into the Patreon bonus episode for those Patreon subscribers, Patreon pledgers, for September. So keep an eye out for that. Let's start off now. Let's go to Alonzo from Greenbelt, Maryland, who wants some help petitioning his town to get more destination chargers installed, which is an awesome thing for him to take up. So Alonzo, let's hear from you.
Hey Ryan, this is Alonzo from Greenbelt, Maryland again, calling back from last week. My comment is on destination chargers and how to get those installed in your area. I read the Tesla website and it says that you have to have a business and fill out a form and then they'll contact you. So I've been talking with my mayor of Greenbelt, Maryland to try to get a bunch of them installed to promote business, promote Tesla owners coming to our area, and also help me out when I get my Model 3, since it seems to be about 150 miles from the next destination charger roundabouts for that. So any help, any links to more information on how to get these chargers installed would be really helpful. I've got a meeting with him next week, so looking forward to hearing from you. Love the show. Talk to you later. Bye.
Well, Alonzo, I think I can help you a little bit. I was crawling around the Tesla website because I remembered that there's some sort of destination charger program where a business can sign up to get potentially a free destination charger installed So I know that's not exactly, you're kind of trying to do a grassroots thing here, but I think you should start here. You can contact Tesla. Go to tesla.com/destination-charging. So destination-charging on the Tesla site. Check that out, and hopefully you can be successful in hooking up Greenbelt, Maryland with some destination chargers. I think that's really awesome of you to take that upon yourself and try and spread the good word. Let's go now to Kim from Orlando, who wonders about the possibility. We were talking last week about, will there be a next Tesla Roadster? Well, Kim's got an idea for another Tesla vehicle. Let's go to Kim.
Hi, Ryan. This is Kim from Orlando, Florida. And first off, I want to say congratulations for doing a full year. I've been following you on Unlocked and love what you did there, and have been listening to Ride the Lightning this entire time from episode 1. Anyway, I was taking a road trip from Miami to Orlando and was able to catch up on your last few episodes, and thought it was really interesting in the last episode when you brought up, or Elon brought up, the idea of doing the next Roadster. And I was just thinking on the other spectrum, how the Roadster is very cost prohibitive to most people. Why not do something like a electric bicycle? When I was staying in Miami, I lived there for about 10 years, the bicycle movement was really kicking off. And I would love to see something that would really make cycling even sexier, a Tesla e-bike, maybe utilizing discarded batteries or what have you, kind of similar to the idea of the leather iPhone cases from the cars and whatnot. Anyway, I'd love to hear your opinion, and I would love to own a Tesla bicycle, maybe a Model B or a Model C for cycle or something like that. Anyway, I love the podcast, loved your show, and keep it up. Thanks.
Well, Kim, first of all, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. It is awesome that it's been a year. It's, man, I know it's even, it feels like it was yesterday, but also does feel like it was a year ago, because it's like, I can't even remember episode 1 or 2 or 3. But anyway, let's get to your comment, your question, your call here. So my guess is that a Tesla bike will not happen for the following reason. I don't think it fits the mission statement of the company, which I know I talk a lot about on this podcast, seemingly almost every week. Replacing a CO2 producing car does a lot more for accelerating the advent of sustainable transport and energy than replacing a bike with an electric bike, because a bike, of course, is already a zero emissions vehicle. That's not to say your idea is bad. It's obviously not. Tesla could make an awesome bike that's probably stronger and somehow safer and have wicked range for whether, assisted or unassisted pedal travel. But I have to imagine, I think Elon's got his sights just set higher, and that's not to disparage your idea. I think he really is just seeing the problem from the top, and that, like, okay, we got to get these cars off the road, these gas burning, oil burning cars off the road. So would love to see a Tesla bike, though. That would be pretty sweet. Next up, our old friend Lawton from Chicago. Always love hearing from Lawton. He's always so prepared and thoughtful. This week, Lawton calls in with some comments on the Tesla minibus, which is such a fascinating, unexpected project. So Lawton, I'm going to turn it over to you, my friend.
Hi, Ryan. It's Lawton from Chicago. Wanted to comment on the potential of the Tesla minibus that I like to nickname Model V for versatile. Out of all the future vehicle announcements, I feel that it has the most potential to revolutionize transportation. Like a Mercedes Sprinter, depending on the interior setup, it could serve as a minibus, cargo van, or family minivan. Based on the Model X chassis is a smart move, building on an already strong platform and saving development costs. The length and wheelbase of the Model X are comparable to that minivan, which already has 3 rows of seats. With a space-safe, not having an internal combustion engine, a Model V with 4 rows of seats, with 3 to 4 people per row, could fit 12 to 16 people. Equipping the Model V with 2 sets of Falcon doors, one set in the front and another in the back, will eliminate the need for center aisle, allow quick entry and egress, while at the same time decreasing loss of interior heating and cooling when opening the doors. Minibuses are an effective form of transportation, nimble enough to navigate narrow, congested city streets. Urban settings are perfect for electric vehicles, where acceleration from 0 to 30 is most important, with plenty of opportunity to regenerate energy from braking. A Model V with a single row of seats will be the ultimate cargo van. Equipping it with 3 rows of seats would make it the perfect family vehicle for larger families and road trips. Keep up the great work and look forward to your thoughts.
So, I have to say, I'm not so sure that the minibus would have Falcon wings just because it's going to be based on the Model X chassis. Because, in fact, I get the feeling that the minibus would not be a sexy vehicle at all, and that would be by design. It would be designed purely and solely for utility. And although not, of course, yes, aerodynamics and efficiency would be taken into it as well. I mean, Tesla vehicles all have very low drag coefficients relative to the rest of the industry. But I'm not so sure that a minibus would have Falcons, because I think they might even just do sliding van doors for it. I mean, what you're suggesting is definitely possible, but it's going to add to the cost and complexity of it, and I'm not sure if that's the way Elon's going to want to go, especially, again, if you've got a 3-row car, well, rather 3 rows plus the front 2 seats. We'll see. I mean, it is going to be interesting to see. But yeah, again, I kind of look at the Mercedes Sprinter, which you mentioned, and that's not an attractive vehicle. I mean, it is a van. It is meant to be a large, it's meant to transport a large number of people, and I suspect that the Tesla minibus will do the same. But it's going to be interesting to see it no matter what it is, and apparently we're going to see it in somewhere around 6 to 9 months, per Elon's comments earlier in the show. Finally this week, an anonymous caller. He probably just forgot to identify himself, but it's all right. He made himself a good call. He reacts to the Master Plan Part 2 and the Gigafactory. He's in the trucking industry, and he has some comments on the Tesla Semi, as well as a potential Model 3-based referral program. So, Mr. Anonymous, I turn it over to you.
Hey, Ryan. Hopefully you can hear me all right. Using a hands-free device while driving. You wanted people to call in regarding or reacting to Master Plan 2 and the Gigafactory Party stream event. So just two quick things. The first one is I work in the trucking industry, and the Tesla semi-truck sounds really interesting to me. And I just want to note that I've been to several production plants where they build the semi-trucks you see on the highway. And I just want to note that the opportunities for improving and making that process a lot more efficient is tremendous. So in the Gigafactory stream, they talked about the Gigafactory being a product itself and taking a lot of time and effort in designing it correctly. There's huge potential there. I agree with Elon. And second comment, not related to my first one, just interesting. I thought maybe when Model 3 is actually in production, it'd be really cool if they still had the referral programs they have today. Or maybe it'd be different. So I don't know if it'd be $1,000 off, but it'd be cool if they had some sort of referral program for the Model 3. Who knows? We might see some sort of little referral bonus. So just something I was thinking about, since they keep reinstating the Model S and X referral program. Anyway, sorry, long call, but really appreciate the podcast. Thank you. Bye.
I'll tell you, for the referral program bit that you mentioned, I honestly wouldn't expect to see anything like that associated with Model 3 for a while. For quite a while, in fact. Because Tesla has such a massive backlog of demand to work through before a referral program would even be like a good idea because of that backlog, let alone before it would be needed or useful. So to your point, I mean, it's clearly been a successful program for them in the 3 or 4 times they've run it so far. So I do agree with you that we'll see it again in some form, but I just don't think there's going to be a referral program that's tied to Model 3 at all anytime soon. Could be wrong, but with, upwards of 400,000 or 400,000 plus reservations that are waiting to be built for Model 3, there's really, it's almost counterproductive to start piling on top of that, even as Model 3 production starts. They're gonna need to get that ramp up. So we'll see. I think it's going to take some time before we get to a Model 3 referral program. All right, that wraps it up for the Ride the Lightning hotline this week. Again, drop me a line anytime, 1-888-989-8752. And again, the second Patreon-exclusive bonus episode, which is a whole bunch of more excellent phone calls from you guys, that is going to be on Patreon either now, or if not now, very, very soon, because I'm just finishing it up. So look for that on Patreon if you are a backer, and if you're not, please consider jumping in on that. All right, going to come right back. A few more final notes for you before I hit the road right after this. All right, time to get rolling, but before I do, I kindly remind you, I've had a great response so far. Very much appreciate everybody who's contributed to the Patreon. If you have not done so, would love it if you'd at least take a look at the page, see what's doing there. If you listen to the show, you enjoy it, you get something out of it, would love your support to help sort of keep it going and help make my Tesla dream come true. The site is patreon.com, that's Patreon, patreon.com/Tesla Podcast. I've been mentioning the new referral program, and the new kind soul who has offered up his referral code for us to use is Kevin Rapp. So if you would like $1,000 off of the Tesla you're going to order, either the S or the X, please use the referral code, punch this into your browser, ts.la/Kevin4901, and Kevin is Kevin. So you'll get $1,000 off of your new Tesla, and Kevin will get some prizes, and I will get an entry into that Model X referral that they'll do in October, and so I'll get another shot at making my Tesla dream come true, which would literally make me break down and cry if that actually were to happen. I've pictured it. I would actually weep. I well up thinking about it. Like if I can make the moment real enough, like if I'm in the shower. Why am I admitting this? I should just move on. Anyway, follow me on Twitter at DMC_Ryan. You can email me, teslapodcast@gmail.com. I'm on IGN.com by day. That is, of course, the world's #1 video game site. I've got all kinds of fun stuff going on over there. Dave T's weekly Tesla newsletter is a very convenient, very useful resource that could not really be easier to get. Sign up for free at teslaweekly.com. Gene and the crew at teslarati.com love their coverage of Tesla on a daily basis. They do a great job of staying on top of everything. And, of course, abstractocean.com for you Tesla owners. Head over to abstractocean.com for a great selection of Tesla accessories. Again, so many positive reviews I've seen on the forums and in the community for things like their LED lighting kit, their silicone key fob pockets. A lot of good stuff over there, so abstractocean.com. Most of you already subscribe to the show, rather than listen episode by episode, but you can subscribe on just about any platform you prefer, whether it's iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, TuneIn, or there's just the website, teslapodcast.libsyn.com. That's my hosting service. And this, of course, brings me to the Patreon producer thanks. We close out. I actually think I forgot to read the names last week, so I apologize for that. I realized after that I went on this tangent of just thanking everybody for this first incredible year of this show, but I think I actually forgot to read the names, so I'm so sorry about that. I want to thank the Patreon producers. These are the people who donate $20 a month or more to the podcast, and those kind souls are Jeff Bartram, DJ Harbaugh, Pete White, Wolfgang Obergen, George Cassiopo, ZL Klein, Luke Batt, David Brander, Nick Hoffman, Ralph Weiss, and Jonathan Wales. And a reminder that it's the $10 per month pledge that will get you that bonus episode that I talked about earlier, that 5th episode every month. So again, thanks everybody so much. It's been another fun week of Tesla news. And keep it electric, of course. Happy electric motoring. And I'll see you next week.